guys, the Woodcraftsman here, and today I got something a little bit different here for you. I'm just talking about an upgrade I did here to my miter saw fence, and I just thought I'd kind of show it to you, kind of share it with you as far as my thoughts and basically how simple it was to make. I didn't. This video is just kind of like an afterthought. And I thought, you know what, maybe I'll just put up on YouTube and see what people say. Anyways, first of all, I just want to apologize. I've had some comments in the past. People want to see more and more videos from my shop. And quite frankly, it gets really difficult at times because I need to get stuff done, and by adding a camera to it, it just adds a lot more. Not to mention the countless hours of editing for a 15-minute video. I might have 3 hours into editing, and X amount of hours in the different camera angles. So, anyways, I apologize for that, but just so that you guys understand and are aware of that. The videos I post on YouTube are just the ones that I've made time for and have had time to actually put them. And some videos I posted long after the project's been done, just for the simple reason that I need to get the stuff in the shop done first, and then the video comes after when I have time. So, anyways, you may call it an excuse, but that's actually the real truth as far as what it is. So. Anyways, I don't know if you guys have seen the fence that I have for this Makita miter saw. It's called, and I'll bring the camera in a little bit and show you here in a bit. It's called, I think it's called the Saw Helper. We've had this in the shop here for the last probably 15 or 16 years. It's the very first fence that we've ever had, and it's been good, but it's really not designed for the shop. It's not really designed for a permanent setup unless you actually take the time to actually mount it to a table. And it's got some design flaws. I shouldn't say flaws, but just some design differences I don't really care for. And going forward, probably here, I'm assuming late fall, maybe this winter, I'm actually redoing this entire assembly, or this entire miter saw station, and I'm actually be making my own miter saw fence that I feel is going to be best for us here. And it's not going to be a best fence, but it's going to be a fence that we will adapt to very well in the shop. And it's going to incorporate some different ideas from different fences I've seen online through Google Images and things like that. But anyways, we're still going to use this until I get that done, because that'll be kind of a project by itself. And I think at the same time I'm going to retire the Makita miter saw as well. This one is, I think it's about 11 years old. It's been really good. I actually recently just re-squared it. The fence was out of whack. I re-paralleled the fences again. And it's been good, but I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this out of the shop and keep it strictly as a mobile unit, so when we're on the job site doing base trim or crown molding, we can actually take this with, because it actually just folds up into a few pieces. So anyways, so the update I was going to show you here is this stop block. So before I get into the block, I'm just going to kind of give you a panoramic view of this fence system. Okay, and I will show you on this end here. Enough scrap here, but anyways, it's just a freestanding. It's got just a couple pieces that swing out, pieces of square tubing that swing out to create a Y to sit on the ground. And here's kind of a longer view as well. This is about 4 feet, and the other one is a little over 8 feet. So then here's the Makita LS. I believe it's an LS 1013. Yep, LS 1013. So it's been a great saw, but I'm looking to save a little space, and I'm taking a very, very serious look at the Bosch glides. I think called the AccuGlide. So one of the biggest things I don't like about the fence is that it's aluminum. Doesn't really bother me, the fact that we knew that when we got it, but the one thing is, in the cabinet shop, is you have a little bit of sawdust. And I've got some decent dust collection. Obviously, I haven't used a dust collector here for whatever was being cut in here. Was, I think, a non-ferrous material. Maybe some other man-made material as well. But what happens is you get a little bit of dust buildup in here, and this just collects dust, which...
One of my complaints that I didn't get to point out in this video was just more so of a design flaw. The one big thing that I've noticed is any little bit of a dust buildup just kind of lays up on the surface, and there's no place for it to fall unless you take an air nozzle and blow it, or take a brush and brush it away. And that's more so especially when it comes to the stop. You get a little bit of sawdust buildup, you keep pushing your part down, you kind of push the dust around, but there's really no place for the dust to fall. Now, when I first started in woodworking, Biesmeyer was a really big player in miter saw fences. They made a fence specifically tailored to the miter saw model that you had, and they had numerous different models out there for the numerous different miter saws that were available at that time. Later on, basically Biesmeyer had said, you know what, we're going to make a universal fence, and the shop can actually shim the saw up to match the fence or vice versa. And then later on they just kind of went away with the whole idea. So my new fence will basically incorporate features of the Biesmeyer, and the biggest feature that I liked about the Biesmeyer is that the table was separate from the fence itself, and there was about an 1/8 inch to a 1/4 inch gap that would allow sawdust to fall through. So you always had a nice place to push your board up against and not worry about getting any sawdust between the stop and the board.
You know, you could say, well, it's just bad housekeeping. Yeah, it could be, but like I said, when we got this fence, it was an entry-level fence for us, and it was a quick setup. We didn't have to build a workbench. We didn't have any of this nonsense storage down here, but it was something quick and easy to set up. However, we've outgrown that by quite a bit, so that's why we'll definitely be redoing this whole area here with a new steel workbench. Actually, I've got a guy, a friend of mine that does welding, has a welding business part-time, and he can build me a 14-foot table, 24 inches deep. I think it was 38 or 40 inches high for under $200. So I'm going to take him up on that. But anyways, getting back to the stop, which is kind of the main thing of this video. This is the new stop I've made. This is the old stop, which served us well for a very, very long time. However, the way this stop works is, if you see this this T-handle, it's threaded, and then what that would do is this rod would slip in to the sleeve here, and then you would calibrate it and tighten it down. And one of the biggest problems is that you could never get the calibration just right. And I had this bright idea. It's like, well, why don't I just see if I can get like a threaded rod to fit through there and just use a couple nuts. And that's exactly what I did. So here I just made a wooden block. I drilled through the first layer. This is some birch, and countersunk to put in a T-nut. They put the T-nut through the back side here, screwed the blocks together, and then ran just a piece of ready rod through there. Put a nut in the washer to tighten up the T-block, or the T-nut against the back side of the block. And then just I have nuts and washers here so I can adjust it. So when I need to recalibrate this, all I need to do is loosen up these two nuts, move it ever so slightly, and I can get a micro adjustment of it too, because when you change a saw blade, it's going to be a micro adjustment for the calibration. Versus this one here, you eventually start creating a little bit of an indentation, and when you would turn down the knob or on the T-handle here, it would actually want to move back to its original position. So, and we found too that after, you know, bouncing a workpiece into here after a period of time, it would actually become out of calibration. So this one was a little bit more of a easier fix, I guess. So, but that's just kind of the update for that. Now, as far as building a new fence, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be using an aluminum extrusion that's readily available, and it will have a flip stop, which a lot of them do, but the advantage of the one that I'm making will be much like the J.A. Dowley, where there is actually a T-slot in the back with cap screws, and there's a lever on the back that will catch a cap screw. So if you have a common setting, for example, let's just say that for me, standard wall cabinet is 30 inches, so I can set this right at 30 inches, and I can set the cap screw right up against the positive stop, and that way every time I want to make a 30-inch cut, I just slide up against that cap screw in the back and tighten it down. You know, if you want to see the real thing, go to J.A. Dowley, to their YouTube channel, and you can see the thing. Now the J.A. Dowley system is an excellent system. An 8-foot section of just the track and a 4-foot section with freight was about $550. It is a patented system. They got a very robust block. However, they don't have a flip stop. And if you've never had a flip stop before, you don't know what you're missing, just for a simple reason that if you have this set up for even if it's one of your non-standard dimensions, for whatever reason you're cutting something to fit and you keep nudging this over, and all of a sudden you need to make a different cut. Well, instead of losing your position, you flip the stop up, and now you've got free space to do whatever you want, a freehand cut or whichever. So once you've had a flip stop, it's really hard to get away from. A miter saw station for us here is a definite must for accuracy, or accuracy is a definite must. So with that being said, with me building my own, the aluminum extrusion obviously will be the backbone of the fence, but instead of having you know, one piece extrusion like this here, or the fast cap best fence, which is similar to this but actually quite a bit better but expensive at the same time, I will be actually making my own deck out of either melamine or pre-finished plywood. And the nice thing about it is that the way I'm going to be doing mine is I can parallel the fences to each other and parallel the saw within the fence, and I'll be doing that with some aluminum extrusions so I can actually move the fence in and out, twist it side to side, so on and so forth. And then as far as leveling the saw, that's a totally different concept. Very identical to using cabinet levelers, but it's a much simpler idea. So basically I'm just going to be using bolts or ready rod in a similar pattern as this to level the saw. Anyway, so yeah, that's kind of just what I wanted to point out here, this new flip stop, and I got some extra here. Now the one thing that I thought about doing differently was, and then debating if I want to do it on the new system or not, Fast Cap had come up with the idea, and it's an excellent idea. Fast Cap has a flip stop, and they basically have like a 2x3 on the end, and they have a tape measure that actually reads at 0, and you can actually slide the stop to 0, the 2x4 is sticking past, and you cut the 2x4 off. Now you have a perfectly calibrated stop block, and therefore you don't have to use something like this here, you know, a 10-inch spacer, whichever. The way this works is if I have to make any cuts under about 6.5, if I wanted to make, say, something that was 3, I'd have to go into 13, then use my spacer. So I debated about doing that, but the one thing is, if I did do that, an 8-foot extrusion will only give me 8 feet long, versus if I use a stop like this here, I'll get over 8 feet. It's not that often that I use a stop over 8 feet, but it's just nice to have the flexibility. And the 10-inch stop block has worked very well. You know, excuse me, I might actually make one of these out of a chunk of aluminum. You know, some 3/4 by 3-inch wide by 10-inch long aluminum maybe, but that's worked very well. I'd love to have a Tiger stop, but I just can't really justify it.
So why can't I justify it? Well, to me, a $5,000 positioning system and a $600 saw just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Typically when you find a Tiger stop, it's typically on an upcut saw like a Whirlwind or something like that, or maybe an Omega miter saw. Even the saw gear, which is Tiger Stop's entry level, specifically originally designed for the construction industry and also for the small shop, once again, a $3,000 positioning system or a $5,000 positioning system to a $600 or even a $1,300 Capex saw, to me just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. If I did a lot of higher end production, or if I did more of a production run, then obviously a Tiger stop or a saw gear or a razor gauge for that matter would be in mind. But for the work that I do, a new shop built system with indexable stops is going to be the perfect fit.
And if I was going to have a Tiger stop, which is about even the saw gear, which is the kind of the contractor's version of the Tiger Stop, but still made by the same company. You know, they're still around $3,000. So that's why I really think that we can make our own in here to basically our likings. So, and it'll just be something unique to us. So this this saw helper has been excellent. It was made in USA. It was actually made in Minnesota someplace. I want to say by the Twin Cities maybe. They're no longer in business, I believe, because I actually looked them up on the website, and the only thing, or on the internet, the only thing I could find was saw helper out of business with a question mark. So it seems to be that they're out of business. Not sure what they did, but you know, it's one of them things. But for now, the saw helper's been tuned up again for a while again, and it's been good. But I'm pretty sure that once we do the fence here, we're going to do the miter saw right away too. So that'll be good. It'll be a good challenge. So anyways, enough babbling. I just wanted to kind of give you this little tip and give you a heads up as well as far as what's been going on, why I've been posting recently. But yeah, so, and this idea, I think you could adapt to pretty much any fence as long as you have a way of mounting some type of a threaded rod or something, and it should work well. This stop is pretty robust for the most part. It's been good to us, but the one that we're going to be making here is going to be even more robust, so that'll be a good thing. So not that we're abusive, but you know, things do happen. So alright guys, questions and positive comments are welcome, and once again, thanks for watching.